There are many reasons, so many reasons to suffer, but only one reason to be happy. What is your take on this? This is a standard line, standard sentence that we have so many reasons to suffer and one reason to be happy. The question is this your experience? Have you exhausted all the reasons? Is there a possibility for all of us to try all the reasons to be unhappy? No, we don't have so much time. What is our lifespan? We cannot have all the experiences that this world can give you. So basically this is the standard line, standard sentence. Everybody says this. What we want to discover now, what is my experience? What is your experience? There are so many reasons to suffer, but only one reason to be happy. Have we found that reason? Or look at it from this way. If you have found that reason, the question does not arise anymore. There's no more question. The question drops by itself. Since we have not found out, we have not discovered that reason to be happy, so the question arises. So happiness is something that we have not experienced yet. We cannot even say anything about it. If you use your scientific mind, you cannot talk about anything that you have not experienced before. And what is the definition of happiness? In the East, there are many families where 2 generations, sometimes even 3 generations, they live together. Of course, it's not that common anymore. But there are still families all over the East where the grandfather, parents, children, they live together. And this was considered the ideal model for family where 3 generations are living together. Consider the modern family, any modern family. When you have a child, you're so happy. You're pregnant, you're so happy. The father knows I'm going to be a father, he's so happy. But once the child is born, you're all engrossed in the upbringing, You're all so excited. And then when the child is teenager, and you as a mother, as a father, you are still concerned where your child is going, why coming late. It is a natural concern. And the child comes back to you, the same child. What's your problem, mom? What's your problem, daddy, father? I'm old enough. I know what is good for me, what is bad. Neuroscience tells you, this is the latest discovery. Our ancestors, they knew it without science. You have the phrase of wisdom tooth, right? Wisdom tooth that grows when you are 20 plus 30. Now the neuroscience is proving that the wiring of your brain completes only at the age of about 32. So until you are 32, you are actually not grown up. Most of your decisions may not be right because you don't have the wisdom as yet. It's all neuroscience. It's not granny's tale. In the olden days, we used to think, just a namesake, wisdom tooth. So it is not a granny's tale anymore. It is neuroscience that the wiring of your brain is not complete. What does that mean? What does this imply? First, you are never wise enough until 32. Second, you have all the possibilities to change yourself until you are 32. You can change yourself totally. You can transform yourself totally and very easily, comparatively easily. Easier it is to change yourself totally and completely before you are 32. After that, the wiring is completing. And it may take more time for you to change. It may take a lot of time for you to change. But until 32, any habits, any bad habit that you have, do you know you need maximum 2 weeks to change yourself? You just have to control yourself for 2 weeks. And have some prevention, like you're a smoker, for instance, and you want to quit smoking. You can totally leave smoking within 2 weeks, and then the next thing you have to do to sustain this change, you have to avoid the company of smokers. But you need only 2 weeks. And I used to have a friend, he used to say, he was a neuroscientist, neurosurgeon, he used to say actually you need only 4 days to change your brain wiring. Just 4 days to change. So there's a good thing also that you can change, all the bad habits can go away just like that. But the negative side is that until you are 32, 33, you have to be careful with your decisions. You cannot just take it for granted that you are adult at the age of 16. You are 16, you are 17, you are 18, you can go to the drugstore now and you can buy your own wine. You can produce your ID card and then you can buy your wine because you are grown. No, you are not grown yet. You are not grown yet. It's not me talking, it's neuroscience. So then how can we address this question? There are so many reasons to suffer. Have we tried all the reasons? No, we cannot. But only one reason to get happy. How do we know? Because if we are happy, this question does not arise. So we have to find the truth now. What is this? Because you want to be happy, I want to be happy. Everybody wants to be happy. And we are not happy, that's why we want to be happy. If we are happy, we won't be here, we won't be traveling, we won't be doing anything. Look at this from this point of view. It is because you are not happy that life is happening. You go around, you see things, you build, you try to have partner, you try everything for the sake of happiness. If you are totally happy, really happy, 100% happy, you'll be living in your own house doing absolutely nothing because you are happy. You'll be like that laughing Buddha there, stretching his hand and laughing all the time, 24/7. There'll be no life. Thanks to suffering that we are all living, life would be so boring if we are all 100% happy 24/7. There would be no story. Once upon a time, there was a girl, her name was Cinderella, and she lived happily with her parents. The end. Romeo meets Juliet, and they fall in love, and they get married. The end, and they lived happily ever. There are no stories. You'll have no story without suffering. It is because of the suffering that we have stories. It is because of suffering that we are learning lessons day after day. No suffering, no lesson, the book is closed. Not chapter, the whole book, the entire book is closed. Khatam. Finito. Finish. Khalas. Finito. So there is suffering. And suffering makes you wise enough to ask this question. If there is no suffering, you are not wise enough to ask this question. This question is, according to me, wise question, and that arises because we are suffering. How do we find happiness? Should we find happiness, or should we try the method that was practiced, that was used by Buddha? Instead of seeking happiness, what he did was find out the reason of suffering. And when you find out the reason of suffering, then don't follow Buddha, but try to understand his methodology. He does not look for happiness anymore. He is trying to find the reason of suffering. First of all, he says, he goes to the marketplace and he sees somebody getting old, gray hair, someone sick, someone dying, dead body. So he sees all these scenes. When you grow old, you lose your sight, you lose your hair like me, You have gray hair instead of black and blonde. And then he sees someone sick. I am healthy. He is analyzing this. I am healthy, but this man is sick. And he asks his friend, he's a prince. He has never seen this kind of suffering. He's locked in the palace. Once he goes out of the palace and he sees all these things, and he asks his charioteer, his driver, and also friend, tell me, I am young, this guy, what happens to him? He's an old person, he's an old man. Will I become old also? Yes, everybody becomes old. Then I'll suffer like him also, I'll fall sick also? Yes, you may. And will I die also like that person is dead? He cannot move? Yes. Everyone who is born dies. So what was his conclusion? He concludes. It's not like a motivator, not a present day motivator. He concludes, life is suffering. This is samsara. Life is samsara, suffering. And life is repetition. Everybody is repeating this. You are born, you grow up, you become old, you may fall sick, you die. This story is same, common with everybody. So then he thinks, he's a thinker, he thinks. We are putting this Buddha here for you not to worship him, but to understand him. He thinks, if everyone is going through these stages of life, and these stages of life make you suffer, is it possible, scientist of soul, is it possible that this suffering is caused by one simple reason, by one singular reason, one reason? And then he tries to find out the reason. It takes him 6 years to find out the reason. 6 full years. And then he concludes that the reason is there. And if there is a reason, there should be a way out. And way out is a meditative way of life. And then he describes the reason. The reason is your mind. We are all sitting here. Maybe you're not too happy, maybe I'm more happy, maybe you're less happy, maybe I'm less happy than you. But we are all sitting here. We are all okay. And then, all of a sudden, somebody comes and brings us a news that someone has died. Someone who we know, we love, has died. What happens to us? Immediately, all happiness is gone. But this person who has died did not die just now. He may have died in the afternoon, earlier, in the morning, but we just got the news. And the whole day from morning till now we are all right. Our mind gets disturbed now when we get the news. And he applies this reasoning in all situations, to all situations, 6 years. In all situations, it is the mind that is making you unhappy. You have a boyfriend, you have a girlfriend, and he or she is flirting around with somebody else. You're all right. Once you know that your partner is flirting around with somebody else, immediately you're unhappy. As long as you don't know, you're all right. You're all right. So the reason, he says, is the mind. And if the mind is the reason of all kind of suffering, you stretch it backward, all these kind of suffering that we go through, the common factor is mind. And so if you address the mind, if you take care of the mind, then you can become happy. And then he gives this meditative way of life. Right perception. He starts with very simple, right perception. When you look at things, don't go by the surface value. Look into the nature of things. So you just don't look at things, but look into the nature of things. Right perception, from right perception to right thinking, to right livelihood, to right lifestyle. There are 8 noble truths. Everything is right, right, right. At the end of the day, is the right meditation. The right kind of meditation by which the mind can be tamed. The mind that is going here and there, it can be tamed, and then only you find Ananda. Once again, this is something, the question is wise. We have to explore it and we have to try it out. We have to try it out. Is it really true that through meditation I can be happy? I will not be talking, I will not be stating this, I will not be giving you this statement if I have not tried myself. So I'm just sharing my experience basically. I have tried it and this is the way to happiness. You try it also.